I'm just seeing like judges block everything. So I assume Trump anticipated this, but using his Article 2 powers in the Constitution as the head of the executive branch, he's done things like the federal funding freeze. So the latest one that got blocked here is a federal judge, John Bates, ordered Trump administration to restore pages related to progressive sex and gender healthcare, quote unquote, on the CDC, FDA, and HHS websites.
Yeah.
I went and looked it up. It's a advocacy group, I think called Doctors for Something. And everything your wildest dreams of like the most progressive gender, whatever, yes. To answer, yes. So they sued to get this back up. This judge basically is saying now, okay, you have to put it back up until something happens. He also, his wife is a direct beneficiary of USAID funds through their nonprofit.
Well, I mean, who isn't really?
Yeah, true. I'm stupid. I haven't gotten any USAID funds. And I'm mad.
I mean, here's the thing you could say. I mean, like it's the very beginning of this is very dubious. Okay. Because there was never a law that mandated that the HHS set up a website called reproductiverights.gov. Okay. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden's administration is just like, we need to promote abortion and help women in states that are now suddenly pro-life and don't have abortion. We need to help them get access to killing their babies in other states or whatever.
Wait, so did Pope Francis, he's Catholic. Did Pope Francis send a letter on that?
I missed it.
Okay, sorry, continue. Missed that one. Go ahead.
So the Biden administration decides to, it's not like Congress said, here's the money for this, build this website. Biden on his own does it. So therefore, Trump could say, oh, well, we don't need it anymore. We're going to take it down. What's the problem?
That's it.
But right? Done. So
it's the executive branch.
But these people you can't do that. You can't, Republican presidents cannot undo what Democratic presidents do because of article I made up in the Constitution. Like, it's so baloney. Okay, but even if they kind of came up with some fig leaf argument why, well, this is why it shouldn't happen. Argue that. But why do you have to issue an order saying, no, you have to put those websites back up while we fight this out? No. This is such hogwash. Again, the point is, it's one thing if that judge says, well, I think this website should still go up. Here's what's going on. A judge can issue an injunction and can basically stop an action and say, we want it to be corrected because we think there's irreparable harm. Okay. Right. In the case of, let's say, one of these migration policies, let's say Trump does this, remain in Mexico policy, right? And the judge were to say, well, we're concerned there might be irreparable harm, like people actually might get hurt, harmed, brutalized, whatever, because of this action. So we're going to freeze it while we judge whether or not it's constitutional. And there's an argument there for the ability to allow a judge to freeze something because you need it, because there might be irreparable harm that can't be undone. Okay. But in this case, what's the irreparable harm? Like, a website's not up? Like, no one else knows how to Google to get an abortion? Like, what is the harm? I mean, it's so farcical. And again, I have Clarence Thomas has been very clear about this. He thinks it is radical that we just allow one judge in the middle of nowhere to put a freeze on something forever. And so because of this, conservatives did the same thing too. It's not asymmetrical warfare. We find the one judge out in West Texas or whatever, and we put a stomp on things. It's like, hey, if these are the rules of the game, both sides are going to play it. It's just a crappy way of doing.
It's a crappy game, right?
Yeah, it's crap.
So I assume President Trump anticipated this with a lot of his orders.
Oh, yeah.
So that being said, to my understanding, the way to resolve this is to put it on an emergency docket with the Supreme Court, saying that it would be ruled on in like a week, like something very fast. Is this an accurate assessment?
That's what would make sense. If we are really talking about irreparable harm and urgency, you would see, oh, well, maybe we should address this as quickly as possible. That's not how they want to play the game, though. So the left is going to want to delay and delay and delay. And not just in the case of a website going up, but in all these injunctions that we're seeing. And I mean, the website one is kind of like the extreme one that catches your eye, but there's there's tons of these challenges right now.
Absolutely.
Coming up through the courts, some of which to delay them is preserving the status quo. They want to preserve the status quo of the deep state and the bureaucracy. So the longer they can take, because they don't really believe there's irreparable harm going on. They don't really believe that.
No, of course not. Wow. Right. I mean, they'll come up with some fancy theory. But the thing is, the danger here is that on the left is that they should have just let this one go. Like, what's the theory in which the president of the United States, can put up a website on something and then his successor can't say, I don't want that, I'm going to take it down. Like, we're
going to lose this one.
Is there something I'm missing where the president has certain powers only if he's a Democrat, and like if the Republicans have no powers? Like, it's just baloney. So by staking this case like this, you're inviting the Supreme Court, even with Judge John Roberts, who's a knucklehead these days. You're inviting the 6-3 court to go full bore, and actually, there's a lot of conservatives like me who want the Supreme Court to ratify the notion that we have a unitary executive,
right?
That the Article 2 gives the President of the United States the authority to execute the laws. And therefore, he should be able to fire anyone in the executive branch. He should be able to impound funds. He should be able to turn off a damn website. So, I mean.
Can I ask then, you're saying then it would basically just be the Supreme Court re-clarifying what should already be true right now, that under Article 2 of the Constitution, they have the power, rightfully so. And then all these judges are kind of
what we've dealt with by a lot of these federal judges over the last 10 years or so is, Barack Obama would do something through executive order, and then Trump come in and would undo it. And then the courts would say, oh, no, you can't do that. What on the earth? It just drives you mad. And again, I worry for my country where we have a two-tier system of justice, because it's like, wait, why is it that it's almost like it's not almost, it's exactly like this. Liberals think everything you want is unconstitutional. Sorry. So even if you win, you don't get to do anything you want. Like, excuse me? It's absolutely bonkers. Like, it's crazy. Like, what is the theory in which you can say that Donald Trump can't unplug this website? It's bonkers.
Right. Call me naive too, but I understand there to be. So the argument I'm seeing against this is there's like a legitimate separation of power that our country was designed to have. But to my understanding, the executive branch should enjoy executive authority, therefore executive action. And the Congress is meant to legislate, and judges aren't supposed to legislate. They're supposed to just basically say, is this constitutional? Yes. Is it not constitutional? No, on like the federal circuit. So even the concept of an injunction to me is kind of bizarre. Like, that just feels like a bug in maybe a better feature where, like, basically in a better world, Dr. Save America or whatever, they come with this dumb lawsuit and they're just told by a federal judge, like, yes, that's constitutional, or no, that's not constitutional. You can't just delay. Like, this doesn't feel like
one thing I want to get at, though, is that, like, we have this theory and everyone traces it back to Mary versus Madison or whatever. And it's like this idea that the judicial branch has the final authority on the Constitution, and the Supreme Court has the final authority. And I'm like, no, we have three branches of government. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the Supreme Court, sorry guys, sometimes gets it damn wrong. And the executive can say whether or not he can abide by the court order, or he can defy it. And if he defies it, what can you do? Congress can impeach a president that defies the court. We have three branches of government. They all actually have sworn a duty to uphold and enforce the Constitution. So this idea that, well, the judiciary just gets to do whatever they want, they are the overseers of the Constitution and no one else is? Like, no, that's not how it works.